All right, everyone, get ready, because today we are going deep on the Nvidia Jetson Orin Nano Super.
Ooh, exciting.
We've got Jensen Huang's YouTube announcement, of course, some deep dives from the tech world,
Yeah.
and even some early buzz from developers.
Sounds like we've got a lot to cover.
Yeah, definitely. This isn't like just another hardware launch. This is something that is like really kind of shaking up AI in a pretty big way.
I think so. It's really interesting, actually. What makes the Orin Nano Super so interesting is that it's not just like a simple upgrade. It's really bringing those AI capabilities, the kinds that used to require like tons of computing power
Yeah.
to a much wider audience, and that's really cool to see.
Totally, yeah. And speaking of the unveiling, did you see Jensen Huang on YouTube? He like literally pulls this tiny computer out of an oven.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. That was pretty funny.
It's hilarious, and you immediately just get how compact this thing is.
Yeah, it's a really I don't know, it's like a really clever way to show just how much miniaturization is happening in AI hardware. We've gone from these huge servers to these little powerhouses that can fit in your hand.
Totally, yeah. And it's not just about size either. The Orin Nano Super, it's got a real punch when it comes to performance. It boasts like up to 1.7x improvement for generative AI stuff compared to the last one.
Oh, wow. That's a significant jump.
Yeah, it is. So what does that actually mean in the real world, that kind of boost?
Oh, okay. So let's say you're building something that uses a large language model, an LLM, for like real-time translation, something like that. That 1.7x boost means you could be processing stuff 1.7 times faster, so everything feels smoother, more natural for the user.
That's huge, yeah. And the price point, too, it's just $249. I mean, that totally changes the game for who can even get involved in AI. It's not just these big tech companies anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
It's students, it's hobbyists, it's small businesses.
It really does feel like AI development is becoming way more accessible.
It does, yeah.
Yeah, which is really cool.
Yeah, totally.
That price point, it just completely disrupts that traditional model where the high costs limited who could actually do stuff. Now students, small startups, they can experiment with cutting-edge AI without breaking the bank. We're talking like complex tasks, those LLMs, computer vision, all on this tiny device.
Yeah. I was even reading an article about how the Orin Nano Super could handle some computer vision things that used to need like a whole rack of servers.
Wow.
I know, it's crazy. There's a real-world example, too, that I thought was super interesting. WorldCoin, the company that's using iris scans for ID, they're already using a Jetson module in their scanner, the Orb.
Oh, yeah. That's a great example of how this is moving beyond just theory.
Right?
And going into actual deployment, solving real problems.
Absolutely, yeah. And a big part of that seems to be this whole shift towards, what do they call it, edge computing. So basically running AI right on the device itself instead of relying on the cloud.
Exactly.
Okay, so
Think of it like this. Instead of sending all your data to a massive data center to process it, you're doing it right there on the device. It cuts out the need for constant internet, reduces delays, and it can save a ton of money compared to cloud stuff.
okay, yeah, that makes sense. But let's be realistic, this little device isn't going to replace those huge data centers, right? I
Right.
mean, those still seem super important.
Oh, for sure, yeah. High-end data centers, they're still crucial, especially for training the most complex models. But the Orin Nano Super, what it does is it provides a way to run those models really efficiently at the edge. So it brings AI processing power to places it couldn't go before.
Gotcha. So it's not about replacing the big guys. It's more about giving smaller developers, smaller companies, the tools to build their own powerful AI applications.
Exactly. It's about democratizing access. It's changing the whole landscape of innovation. Imagine a world where AI isn't just controlled by a few huge corporations, but where anyone with a good idea and an Orin Nano Super can contribute to the field.
That's awesome. And that brings up a really interesting point about owning your intellectual property, which it seems like is becoming even more important these days.
Absolutely. In the past, AI development, it was really a game for those with massive resources. But now, with tools like this, the power to create and own your AI is becoming much more accessible.
It almost feels like we're entering this new era where anyone can be an AI artisan,
I love that. Yeah.
crafting these unique solutions with powerful tools.
That's exactly what's happening. It's about really understanding the technology, mastering it, and then applying it to specific problems in new ways.
It seems like we've only just started to see what's possible with this kind of accessible AI. It's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
So where do we go from here? What are the next steps in this evolution?
Well, that's where it gets really interesting. We're seeing these incredibly lightweight AI models emerging that can run right on devices like the Orin Nano Super. And this is just the start, the line between what we can do on a small device and what needs a huge data center. That line's getting blurrier all the time.
That's a pretty mind-blowing thought, honestly. And it makes me wonder, what's next for the Jetson platform itself? We've talked a lot about the hardware, the power, and this whole AI artisan idea. But what about the software side that makes it all work?
That's a great question, actually. Nvidia doesn't just give you the hardware. They've built this whole ecosystem around the Jetson platform to help developers. You get the powerful engine, but you also get all the tools and resources to build the car around it, you know?
Yeah, that's a great analogy. So what are some of those tools and resources that make it so developer-friendly?
Well, there's the Jetpack SDK, which is like a toolkit. It gives you all the software you need to get started. You also get access to the NVIDIA NGC catalog. It's a collection of pre-trained models, frameworks, stuff like that. Think of it like a library of building blocks that you can use to kickstart your AI project.
Okay, so you're saying that even if you're not like a hardcore AI expert,
Mm-hmm.
you can still get started with the Jetson platform.
Totally. Yeah.
That seems pretty accessible.
Absolutely. And if you want to tweak those pre-trained models to fit your specific application, there's the TAO toolkit, which makes it super easy to customize and optimize those models.
It's like having this powerful AI engine that you can tune up to work exactly how you need it.
Exactly.
But it's not just about the tools, right? I've heard a lot about the Jetson community,
Hmm.
and it sounds like that plays a big role in making this tech so approachable.
Oh, for sure. The community is awesome. It's super vibrant. You've got forums, tutorials, open source projects, and tons of support from other developers. It's a great resource for anyone starting out, or even if you just want to learn from people who've been doing this for a while.
Yeah, it sounds like you've got everything in one package: the hardware, the software, the community support. It's a recipe for some serious innovation.
Mm.
Speaking of which, this new Orin Nano Super actually has an upgrade path for existing Jetson developers.
Oh, that's right. If you've got the previous Jetson Orin Nano Developer Kit, you can get the Super's performance boost just by updating the Jetpack SDK.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's a fantastic example of how NVIDIA is really committed to supporting their developers.
I love that they're not leaving those users behind. But
Yeah.
let's zoom out a bit here and talk about the bigger impact of the Orin Nano Super. It's not just about developers tinkering around in their basements, right?
Right, think about all the industries that could use this.
Yeah.
AI at the edge, I mean, manufacturing, healthcare, retail, even agriculture. The possibilities are pretty much endless.
I've been reading about AI-powered robots
Mhm.
working with humans in factories. Medical devices that can give real-time diagnoses, even autonomous drones that help optimize crop yields. It feels like we're getting closer and closer to a world where AI is just like seamlessly woven into our lives.
And because the Orin Nano Super is so energy efficient, it opens up a lot of possibilities for battery-powered devices, especially in places where you don't have a lot of power, like environmental monitoring, search and rescue, even scientific exploration.
That's crazy. So AI is breaking free from those server racks
Hmm.
and going out into the field to tackle real-world problems. It's exciting stuff, but it makes you wonder, what's the point of all this? Why should the average person care about this little computer and what it can do?
Because it's changing how we interact with technology. We used to think of AI as this abstract thing happening in the background, but now it's becoming more tangible, more personal, more integrated into our lives.
Right, it's not this distant concept anymore. It's becoming part of our reality.
Mm.
And the Orin Nano Super is making it easier than ever to understand it, experiment with it, even shape it.
It's about giving people the power to become creators, not just consumers.
Yeah.
It's about making AI accessible and fostering a more inclusive approach to development.
That's a powerful message. We've talked about the hardware, the software, the community. We've even touched on the ethical considerations, which are really important. But I think what sticks with me the most is this idea of the AI artisan.
Yeah, I agree. As AI becomes more common, the real value comes from human creativity, ingenuity. It's not just about using pre-trained models. It's about understanding how they work, mastering them, and then pushing the boundaries to create something new, something innovative.
Moving beyond just using AI to mastering it. Becoming an expert, like a skilled artisan who knows their tools and materials inside and out.
Exactly. It's that human element, that creativity that will unlock the full potential of AI.
So as we wrap up this part of our deep dive into the Nvidia Jetson Orin Nano Super, it feels like we're at this turning point. We're
Yeah.
seeing this amazing convergence of powerful hardware, easy-to-use software, a supportive community, and a growing understanding of the ethics involved.
And what's even more exciting is that this is just the beginning. The possibilities are truly endless.
So let's leave our listeners with a thought. With AI becoming so widespread and accessible, what cool applications can you imagine for a device like the Orin Nano Super?
Maybe a device that helps you make music or art, or a tool that changes how we learn and teach. Maybe even a breakthrough in assistive technology for people with disabilities.
The future of AI isn't set in stone, it's a story that's still being written, and each of us can contribute to it.
And who knows, maybe the next big AI application will come from one of our listeners. Someone who dared to dream big and use the power of this amazing technology.
It feels like we've really gone deep on the Orin Nano Super.
Yeah, we've covered a lot.
From the size, the power, to the software and the community around it, this thing is something else.
It really is.
So you've seen how it's making AI, like, seriously accessible.
Right, giving a whole new generation the tools to create.
Exactly, and we've talked about edge computing, AI moving from the cloud to the device,
Opening up so many possibilities.
real-time applications, better privacy.
It's clear that the Orin Nano Super, it's not just another piece of hardware. It's like changing how we think about AI completely.
Bringing it into our lives in a whole new way. It's been fascinating to see how it's all coming together.
It has.
So as we wrap up,
Yeah.
I think we should leave our listeners with something to think about.
Okay, I like that. Shoot.
All right, so with AI being everywhere
Yeah.
and the tools to, build and use it becoming so accessible,
Yeah.
what kind of crazy applications can you imagine for a device like the Orin Nano Super?
Oh, that's a good one.
I know, right?
Yeah,
It's the wheels turning.
it does.
What if we had personalized learning, tailored to exactly how you learn best?
Oh, I like that.
Or smart homes that, know what you need before you even ask.
That would be amazing.
Or maybe even devices that can help people with disabilities in totally new ways.
Now, that's something I'm really excited about.
Me too.
The potential is just huge.
It is. It really feels like we're just getting started.
Absolutely.
So to everyone listening,
Yeah.
keep exploring, keep experimenting, and keep dreaming big.
The future of AI is in our hands, and it's up to us to shape it.
Exactly. So what will you create?